Hi, she sells seashells by the Sandra Shore. First try. Andrew, and this is Gayties Toys. I've got plenty more words to flub up, don't worry. Today we're talking about the Inhumanoids from 1986, which is a beloved line for the monsters, not the humans. And unfortunately, we're talking about the human today. Sandra Shore. Sandra Shore. Jessica Simpson. Rather than traditionally just airing one full season, the Inhumanoids were part of a almost pilot project where 4 different series were pitted against each other and released as part of a series of shorts throughout Super Saturday or Super Sunday, depending on where you were in the country. Inhumanoids did in fact succeed, and they went on to have a full 13-episode run. However, their other competition, 2 are not worth mentioning. The other is truly a bigger success. The Inhumanoid series itself was, I want to say, within that realm of Gremlins or Real Ghostbusters early seasons or, Artax dying. You know which horse. Just children's content that was just boffo wild. Like there was amputations, there was dying from toxic radiation, there was just the most nightmare-inducing monsters you've ever seen. And we'll get to some of those soon. But this show was bananas. Whatever you think you remember, I recommend going back. It's a quick 13-episode watch, but it is baffling how Reaganomics was like, to hell with it. The story is pretty simple. I mean, this is a very straightforward kaiju kind of story where, the plot is advanced by human characters that are very boring, and we just want to get to the monster mash. And it really boils down to Medlar, the leader of the Inhumanoids, his 2 chief lieutenants, Decompose and Tendril. They're all released largely in thanks to a man named Blackthorn Shore. Another tongue twister. And admittedly, I remember specifically going to my mom saying I could have been named Blackthorn, and you went with Andrew? Like, I could be leading my life as Blackthorn, just intimidating people casually. Like, what a rub. The main heroes are called Earth Corps, these burly men who are in large battle suits who, like many battle suits, don't make much sense. I mean, their shoulders end here, but the robot's shoulders end out here, so where exactly are your arms in relation to the rest of the battle suit? It's a topic for another day. But essentially, they were, just looking to, be environmentalist. The Inhumanoids came around. They had to sort of, deal with that more urgently, of course. And Blackthorn Shore, that name, he, basically cut off their government funding. So it's his sister, Sandra Shore, who got the raw end of the name game. She came in and said, hey, I'm also casually wealthy. I'll fund you, and I'll join you on missions. Her missioning was cut short, and we'll get to that. But largely, she sort of took on more of a kind of Janine Melnitz's role from Ghostbusters, where she would suit up when need be, but by and large, she was much more of on the, support or administrative side of Earth Corps. So, not the most exciting character, but definitely one who was a core member of the group. The Inhumanoids also had a line of toys. Again, they had the guys in the battle suits. Boring. The real money was the monsters, and they were incredible. They were amazing then. They're amazing now. They're still nightmare-inducing. They go for a hefty price tag. They are very rare. They're very cool. So in the toy line, we of course did not get Sandra Shore, either in her battle suit or boring business attire. Frankly, I would have been fine with either, but this is sort of, my jam, as you can tell. The humans were, of course, not the big moneymaker, the monsters were, but here's where we have a rare twofer, a surprise twofer. Sandra was in one memorable scene of Inhumanoids that is a core memory. I had to go back and watch it to make sure I was remembering correctly, and I have, beat for beat, that locked into my brain since childhood. Terrifying scene where in one of her first missions, with her goofy, happy face battle suit, she gets captured by Decompose. He goes and punctures her cheek with his nail or something, and then she mutates into this monstrous Inhumanoid whatever, and she's screeching and howling, and that was a big cliffhanger that would lead into the next short the following Saturday, but incredible, and very much stands alongside the other Inhumanoids. So the fact is, they didn't make the boring, mousy businesswoman, but they could have made the monster, and she would be just as popular as the others were. Also, one other note about her goofy costume. She was in this battle suit that had like boob armor, the likes of which I've never seen. Like it was a full like giant encasing to protect her boobs, and more room than she needed. Okay, not to be like too shady on her, but she wasn't packing that much. Likewise, the Marvel comics really made sure that you knew she was a girl because she had two domes just ready to protect those puppies. So the final verdict isn't great. Whenever I've been to chat rooms, message boards, now YouTube, streams. Whenever people sort of throw out forgotten '80s properties that they would love, someone like Ramen Toys or NECA to do, Inhumanoids rarely makes the cut. Now that we've seen so much be redone, there's very little that hasn't been done, and maybe people will start asking for Inhumanoids. But again, no one's asking for the humans. No one's like, "Where's my herb?" They're like, "Where's my tendril?" And Sandra, I mean, of course, again, I would buy this figure, but would I buy the other ones? Probably not. So what it really boils down to is that, we would love for someone to make the kaiju. We would like to see, maybe Mondo make Sofubi versions of them, or NECA to make their kaiju versions. But, Inhumanoids is a very, very niche within a very niche kind of, thing. So I can't imagine anyone doing this. Prove me wrong, but there's often cases I play chicken with companies who I know will eventually make these women. In this case, I made this video now because I have no fear of being, mislabeled or misinformed later on. And that's Sandra Shore and the Inhumanoids. Again, I want that monster if someone wants to do that, but very much a relic of the past. I wouldn't expect to see much of. And so if you like this video, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time on Gayties Toys.